this is different. Where am I? What? Hey everybody, welcome back again this week. I got a couple announcements for you this morning. The first is we know how much you guys love getting your camp t-shirts every summer, and so we wanted to make that possible for you. So we are selling our camp t-shirt for this year, this beauty of a thing, and this will be available online right now. It opened up at 10 a.m. this morning at pinelatechristiancamp.com. You can purchase your camp t-shirt for $20 each, and there will be a curbside pickup with that. The details will come in the next Monday about where you can pick up those t-shirts, but we will have one location in Calgary and one location in Edmonton to do so. So just fill out that form and we'll get your t-shirts to you soon. This morning I'm so excited to have Ryan McCullouch joining us. He's a pastor at Ross Carrick Church of Christ in Calgary and has been around camp for many, many years. So we're going to have him joining us this morning to share some camp memories and a devotional for you. We have Ryan McCullouch joining us, like I mentioned. So Ryan, welcome. So happy to have you on this week.
Hi, everybody. Whoa, man, look at all of those red, green dots on my computer screen. I'm so happy that you guys are seeing my face today.
Thanks for being on this week. It's nice to see you. I know we've been hanging out a bit with different things that are happening this summer, and all the different Wednesday night stuff, and with the camp kits and whatever. But it's nice to have you on to talk to you about your history with camp and where you came from. So if you want to just kind of introduce yourself and how you got involved with Pine Lake.
Well, this is actually an interesting story because I went to my first year of rookie camp, and I had a terrible time, and I never went back again until my grade 12 year. So I did the first year of camp I could have done, and then the last year of camp I could have done, and hated one and loved the other. Like grade 12, I'm going to focus more on grade 12 than rookies because I'm here to sell the camp and get people excited. But grade 12 was such a fantastic week. I was going to Oak Park at the time, and we had left behind all these older Bow Valley boys had left, and so we kind of had the run of the camp. And it was so delightful because we got to connect, go kind of wild. We had not super strict deans that week, and yeah, some like crazy shenanigans happened that I look back on and say probably shouldn't have happened, but
Yeah. Oh man. Well, I mean, you've been around for as long as I can really remember. But I remember it was the summer after grade 7 going into grade 8.
okay.
And you were a counselor out at camp.
Yeah,
You and Chad Yuki, and a bunch of other people, obviously. But this is the memory that sticks out in my mind. Where I was having, what, sorry?
That week, I remember that weekend, it was a hard week. So this is probably not going to be a great memory, but okay, let's go forward with it.
I was having okay, my friend and I were having a semi-disagreement over the stupidest thing. Like, it was literally over, it's so sad. I feel like, I hope this doesn't speak a lot of my character. But again, grade 7, whatever, you like what you like. It was over the lyrics of a Paris Hilton song.
Oh, it's more
Which you probably don't know.
Oh, I remember some music, but I didn't know people had arguments about it.
It was the lyrics of the song, like what it actually said. And at that point, like you couldn't Google what lyrics were. Like, there were no smartphones. It was all flip phones still. You had to, it was still, you had that argument until you could go and actually figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, so that was the big argument that summer. And I remember sitting down with another friend and like venting to her about it. And it was like, I'm really upset. She just isn't listening to me. Just like so dumb. But again, at the moment, like this was a real, time in my life where I was struggling and I needed to talk to my friend about it. But it was at that exact moment that you and Chad decided this is the moment when we're gonna throw Erica into the lake. And you guys came up and you interrupted our conversation, and I refused. I was like kicking and screaming that it was not going to happen.
I I vividly remember this because from my perspective, I was like, we had warned you all week long, correct?
Probably, I don't remember.
We had this idea, like Chad and I had this idea where this is gonna happen, and we were just like, no, we just got to find the perfect moment. So it turns out I'm the king of timing. So because at the end of the day, really, I was doing God's work there because nobody needs to be arguing about Paris Hilton lyrics.
It's very accurate. Yeah. You broke up the conversation, which was probably okay. And you planted a memory in my head. And hey, we're still here, so it's fine. Is there any like moment for you, camp related, I guess, where you felt like it was your full turnaround in your relationship with God, or just a pivotal moment that helped you grow in your relationship?
Oh, absolutely. What's crazy is like when you go to camp as a kid. So like I went to a camp as a couple of years at a different one, and you have all those amazing moments like the Thursday nights typically where you're exhausted, you're tired, you kind of get a great talk from a speaker, you have a good worship set, and you really feel connected to everybody and to God and stuff like that. But the moments that I really like connect to the most are the ones that kind of came about as an adult and a leader. So I specifically think about last summer at high school camp and like the panel discussion that we were involved with, like you, Manuel, and Aislinn, and the amount of conversations we got to have with the kids that week was so beautiful and amazing and remarkable that we got to like have like in such a format that, because typically when you have a speaker, they just talk about one thing all week long and they're slowly unveiling it. The way we like formatted it, it was very much, we wanted people to ask questions. We wanted to have a different topic every night. We wanted different perspectives. And like, I felt we had some of the best cabin times I've ever seen at camp. And I know myself, because I was in the boys' cabin, that was like some of the most moving, amazing moments I've had in my like Christian walk was last year, watching these kids talk with each other, find grace for each other. And yeah, it was just amazingly beautiful. And that's like it's very recent, but I've been moved more as an adult than I like long lastingly than I have as a teenager going to camp.
Yeah, it's definitely like an ongoing rewarding experience to be a part of the summers as a counselor, because especially like with doing it for so many years, where like even like for you and I, like you met me as a junior camper and got to, watch me go through all my phases with Paris Hilton and whatever. But then I've gotten to do that with campers as well. And it's such an amazing experience where, some of these kids you only see once a year, and you get to see them grow over that year, or even just grow like exponentially over the course of a week. It's incredible. Yeah.
Oh, one of my favorite things about like being as old as I am and working at camp all these years is like now I get to, there's campers like yourself that I was like part of, like when I was still in leadership, you were going to camp, that now I get to call peers and work with you and get to be excited about the fact that like your passion for camp is just as strong, and that so like that's been one of my favorite aspects, is working alongside these young people that are continuing to come up through the system and going through camp, and then just sticking around and then feeding back into the kids. Because it's like I'm gonna eventually have to age out. I can't keep up as much as I used to be able to, and And that's a good thing because we want the young people to eventually take over
Yeah.
all, right? It's a constantly shifting landscape, and yeah, so it inspires me to see everyone like going and then continuing, and that's, yeah, it's a beautiful thing.
I asked if you could prepare a devotional thought for our campers this week, if we want to segue into that here now.
Great. So, oh man, so these last 4 months have been not great. Like, I've heard a lot of great messages that are filled with hope and inspiration for like staying focused and positive. But I've been finding myself more focusing on like the stories like Job and Ecclesiastes in these moments where I have where I have like they focus on the negative and they allow us to sit in the negative, and when things aren't good, that's okay that they're not good. And so today I want to talk a little bit about Job, because Job is such a fantastic story in such a depressing way. Like, if you're not familiar with Job, this man was loved, he was blessed, he was wealthy, he was kind, he did lots of great work for his people, his family, the people that worked for him, loved him. And then one day, like, he loses it all. He loses all of his wealth, he loses all of his land, his animals, his family, his home. Everything is taken away from him. And he goes through this like existential crisis where he has to like figure out, like, what did I do wrong? Like, why did I deserve this? I've done so many wonderful, good things. And he sits in what the Bible says is a trash heap. So he's literally at the dump, sitting in trash, rotting away. His friends come join him. They're wonderful at the beginning because they sit in silence with him. And then eventually they start giving him terrible advice. And then throughout all of this, God is silent. And then all of a sudden, Job is angry and he starts getting upset with God, and he says, why did this happen to me? And like, I've been on the cusp of asking that question for these last 4 months. Like, why does this have to happen to us? This isn't fair. This isn't right. I miss people. I miss camp. I miss all these beautiful, wonderful, good things. Why does this have to happen? And then God speaks out of the whirlwind, the Bible says. And he just doesn't really address Job. He just reminds us that he asks Job, like, where were you when the foundations of the earth were laid? Where were you when the oceans were filled with water? Where were you when the robins lay their eggs and I watched them hatch? Like, he reminds Job that, like, he is always there. He's always been there. He's always been in control. This is like his world. This is his plan. And like, he kind of gives Job a little bit of scolding, because he's like, how dare you question me? But there's a little bit of inspiration in that for me, because I need to be reminded that even though these are good things we're losing out on, that these are, like, it's sad that we don't get to go to camp this year, like, and see each other in person. God has a plan, and we can trust that whatever happens, God will make it work for his plan. And that's the hope that we have. And so that's really what I wanted to bring today, was that I really wanted to acknowledge that these last 4 months suck. Going forward, it's not going to not suck for a little while, but we can trust that God has a plan, that he will see his plan to fruition, because he's the one in control. He's been the one that's been there from the beginning, long before any of us were born, long before any of us were created. He's been there, and he'll be there long after everything too. So it's that hope that I have, and I'm trying to focus on day to day, because I miss camp and I miss camp. So yeah.
That's very good. Thank you very much, Ryan. That's a great outlook to think about, because we do get just kind of focused on, well, what's going to happen tomorrow, and why is this happening, and is there something that we can be doing differently, and all that kind of stuff. So that's really good. Thank you. Is there something that, or anything that the camp can be praying for you?
Well, I work quarter time in a church, Ross Carrick Church of Christ. So hello to all the Ross Carrick people that might be watching this. But I work full-time at a school for kids with autism. And just last week, they announced that kids are going to be going back to school full-time in the fall. And I just asked for prayer that these are choices that we can trust in our government, we can trust in our healthcare providers, that these are the good choices, that we handle the fall well, that we are staying safe, and that we are continuing to do the things that we value as a society, which is we believe in in-person education. But at the same time, we're not going to be making decisions that are going to affect the most vulnerable among us. So for me, it's prayer around education for schools and what does the fall look like for kids. A little bit of certainty is a wonderful thing for a lot of our kids that are going to camp this summer. Knowing that they're going to be back and seeing their friends for a little bit in September is a huge blessing. And I just ask that everybody involved in that situation is smart, is wise, and is able to make good choices so that we can be together as long as we can until we unfortunately maybe have to break up again. But I'm just thankful. So that's a big prayer item, is just keep that in our hearts, that we continue to do this well as a society.
Yeah, definitely. That's good. Yeah, we'll definitely be praying about all that for you, Ryan. Yeah. Thanks for coming on this week. It's been great to get to chat with you a little bit more, and for them at home to get to know you a little bit more as well, and hear the great memories that you have and your heart for camp as well. Yeah. Thanks again, Ryan, for coming on. It's been great.
Thanks, Erica. Bye-bye.
Bye.
And as always, we want to make sure we're highlighting the things that we are putting out for you every week. The first is right after this at 11, Arts with Emma. Tomorrow at 11 is Christy in the Kitchen. Wednesday at 11 is our variety show. Make sure you're checking that guy out. That's for our grade 1 to 6 campers, with a fun story and a devotional for you as well. Wednesdays at 7 is for our grade 7 to 12 campers to join in together with our camp counselors and other campers across the different churches, just to come together and hang out online. And then Thursday at 11 a.m. is Jamming with Janessa. But that's it for us this week. We'll see you again next Monday at 10 a.m.